and heart. No choking. Nobody like disappeared and shit. Like they were tough. They did the thing. They stood up, you know, like beat the champs. Like what? 20 years of sucking.
Where were all these kind words when the Lakers got put out?
So here's the thing, right? The Knicks were on a like multiple generational sucking thing, like the Red Sox and the Cubs, who like suck for like years and years and years. So when they finally have a moment, you're like, yo, I gotta give it for the Cubs and the Cubs fans. Or when the Sox came up on the Yankees, so I still fuck them. But like the understanding of like this long suffering fan base, the Knicks was one of those things. So like salute to this group, you know, Jalen Brunson, all of them. The Lakers are like,
we're expected to be there.
We are rich, and yet still we fall on our face sometimes. And it's like, goddamn.
We're expected to be here. I get it.
Like the Nepo baby of the fucking NBA. It's weird how multiple
Nepo baby's kind of crazy.
Well, no, but it's weird how multiple generations of basketball somehow the superstar of the league somehow ends up in LA, right? It's
a better place to live. It's just that simple.
The Clippers are there too. The San Francisco is also dope.
Nobody pays for Clipper tickets.
Well, that's because the Lakers have dominated LA. Like Will Chamberlain, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and now LeBron, Luka. Like they always find a way. If you believe in any Illuminati,
that sounds like hate.
No hate. I am understanding the way that the league works somehow. The Yankees had that in baseball, and I'm like, fantastic. I don't know how this happens. How does this happen?
Well, this happens because it's like the Food Network. You ever see Diners, Dive-Ins, and or Dives? You know that TV show, and they show you all of these rare restaurants that have this exotic food that you can only get in this one particular part of the world.
Okay,
it's like going there and skipping on one of those places and going to McDonald's. You got McDonald's at home. Who wants to go to the Clippers? Who wants to go to the Clippers? It's like having McDonald's. They got McDonald's at home. You know what I'm saying? But
there's a great quality of life in Oakland. There's a great quality of life in Miami. It's something more than just LA is a great place to live when you're moving through multiple generations where the NBA is constantly like,
where did you say there was a great quality of life?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I completely forgot. Mid-career, they
hands for that one.
Over from Milwaukee. Like this, it's weird. Something in the water. There's somebody in the back room, and the NBA is like, make sure the Lakers are good.
Need to move to Vegas. Clippers need to move to Vegas.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
They shouldn't be there in LA. That is Lakers town. LA is LA, and that's why stars go there. Also, Oakland doesn't even have a team anymore.
Brooklyn doesn't have a team. No, we suck right now.
No, I said Oakland. No, I said Oakland.
Oh, because they moved to San Francisco?
Okay, yeah.
Fine. It's the Bay Area's team, but whatever. The Clippers are not moving. The Clippers just built the biggest and baddest and most expensive stadium in the NBA. Yeah. They're not going anywhere.
They can't put it on wheels.
No, they're not. They should have. They should. No, they should.
Their man lives in LA, man. They're about LA.
Come on, man. Just put that thing on wheels.
But you're not even addressing the main point. Is there not obviously some level of collusion somewhere where the NBA is saying we are better when our superstars are in LA, and they keep showing them to the Lakers over and over and over for like 60 years?
Collusion? That's a strong word, Mr. Toure.
Coercion.
Collusion. It couldn't be all this winning tradition that we have here. It couldn't be that you're going to get the best of the best access to whatever kind of physicians you may need for your physical health, the best trainers. You got the beach next to you. Could it be that, some of them actually want to be here?
I'm sure some of them wanted to be there, although Luka was quite shocked to be traded. What? How did this even happen?
I was shocked we got him. I'm not going to lie to you. When I first heard the news, I was like, I think I'm happy. I think.
I know.
I was such an Anthony Davis fan, man. I was such an Anthony Davis because of what he meant for our defense. And I was like, instead, we're going to get a highly offensive player who gives up on defense. I don't know how I feel about that, but
they look good though. Y'all just need a defender down low. Y'all need a defender down low.
They are not in the elite of the West anymore. Unless they make some major acquisition. LeBron is entering his last year, or we saw his last year. He is not a dominant.
That is not his last year. One thing I've learned over the years is stop underestimating and disrespecting LeBron. That's not his last year. That's one. Two. If they just get one piece, defensive piece, that could change the entire vibe of the team.
You know what though? I just saw a thing this morning on, I think it was on Get Up, that Luka was like, when I got to the stadium, LeBron had finished his workout, and it was like, it was
mind the game.
That's the guy you got. That's the guy you got who shows up just before the game. That's not a superstar. Watch.
And now he's in LA next to In-N-Out. That has me a little concerned.
In-N-Out is delicious. Yo, to anybody who doesn't like In-N-Out, y'all disrespectful. In-N-Out is delicious. There's a lot of people that be putting Five Guys over In-N-Out.
For me, if I was near an In-N-Out, that means I would be in LA, which means I would go to Roscoe's.
But that's not the same vibe. That's not even.
I know.
That's not even the same food.
Drive to a Roscoe's. Why would I go to an In-N-Out?
That's like saying if I was near a hibachi place, I would go get freaking Jamaican jerk chicken instead. What are we talking about?
Those are Golden Corral level decisions right there. Those are hometown buffet level decisions. Well, I want sushi or pizza. I mean, they're here. You don't have to have both.
You know what I'm saying?
Those are two different. But
enough of the NBA Illuminati, because I don't even know who's in charge of the NBA Illuminati. But I do feel it is a little weird that they just shipped Luka over there knowing that Luka sells jerseys. It is weird, but whatever. We'll leave it at that.
Bronny James moves jerseys too.
Bronny James moved jerseys because of LeBron. Because of LeBron. So I mean, how long is he gonna move jerseys?
How you feel about Bronny being on your team?
Is he on the team?
I'm so happy to see the moment, especially as a dad. That's my political answer. As a Laker fan,
it's a basketball question.
I didn't like him taking number 9 because Nick Van Exel was one of my favorite players coming up. Okay. And I feel like they need to put more respect on Nick Van Exel's name because he was holding us down during some very dark years. You know what I'm saying? We had Eldon Campbell, Corey Blunt, and a bunch of other folks who were, they were balling in their own right. Eddie Jones, another one. Secondly, he's taking up a roster spot, and I think he has a lot of potential, but his height seems to be a limitation. I don't know. I don't know what his trajectory looks like. I don't want to ever doubt anybody whose dad is LeBron James, but there's a part of me that's like, damn, we could use a center. We could have used a few more 7-footers, especially as we got beat by teams that had a lot more length than we did.
Yeah,
he's also not a killer. Like it doesn't seem like he has that gene, but you don't know. That could be something you develop over adversity too. Like I said, I don't like to cap nobody's progression, but as seen right now, it's like this is not a killer. He's not a just specimen as far as like being supremely athletic. So it's like he's just Bronny, which is fun and a great story and a great narrative, which I enjoy too.
We all enjoy level talent. It's just not.
I don't agree with. There's people who are doing worse than Bronny. There's people who are doing worse than Bronny, and they're in NBA, and they have no name. So Bronny is NBA level talent. It's about being a star or an asset.
I mean, I don't think his last name lets him fail either. I think they've set him up to have the access to the best shooting coaches, the best training coach. I think that he's set up to where LeBron refuses for him to be like one of the Jordan. Jordan sons.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, are there worse people than him in the NBA? I mean, I don't know, maybe, but I mean, like this person would not be playing in the NBA if his name was not James. He was the number 2 top scorer, or number 3. He was the number 3 scorer at USC, which was in the middle of a shitty conference. He would not even have been drafted. Like he was barely averaging, I think, 10 points at USC, which is not even a good basketball school. Like he wouldn't have even gotten a look. So I don't even know how to compute the thing of like, well, there are a couple. I mean, he's not better than anybody who would deserve to be in a rotation. Top like 9 on a team, and 9 is a regular.
But that doesn't NBA talent just means NBA talent. It's just are you able to play with these players? And he has the second worst field goal percentage. That's the second. That means someone is worse than him. And they're in the NBA and they don't have a name. So
that's a rough road there.
Everything that you're saying, I said about Luke Walton at one point in time. And they forced us to sit through Luke Walton hour, and they tried to convince me, well, it's not his physicality, it's his high IQ. You know how they speak in code when it's white versus black players. They speak in another code. They say his natural athletic ability allows him to be the LeBron James he is. And they don't say somebody else has a very high intellect and a very great basketball IQ. I didn't see any of that. All I saw was 2.4 points.
We do,
and one rebound.
We do talk about LeBron's IQ. And I do appreciate them at least giving him that. Rachel Nichols was really big on.
He's a basketball genius.
Yeah, cueing him to because he has perfect recall of everything that happens in the game. It's kind of scary. And Green, we talked about LeBron lying. Ask him anything about the game, and it is always right. And Rachel Nichols be in the second quarter against Utah 4 years ago, blah, 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 and he's like, oh yeah, but I'm it's freaking scary. And when he was with JJ Redick, he said something really deep on their little podcast. He's like, from age 10, if the coach gave us a play, I could transpose it in my mind and understand, oh, instead of running it left, this is how you run it right.
Flip it, yeah.
He's like, most NBA players could not mentally conceive of that without somebody drawing it for them, which is not to say that they're dumb. It's to say that his level of mental ability to see pictures and reverse them and flip them is beyond most human beings, which is an extraordinary superpower that he has that we don't even talk about.
Toure, you know something I've noticed with folks who have that almost that super extraordinary IQ, they don't leave a hole. It's almost like when you think about a creative player and they got sliders 100% here, 90% here, and then the defense is 10% here. I wonder how much he's dedicating towards, because he's very articulate. He has the ability to really, articulate his thoughts and whatnot. But I wonder, how do you train somebody from high school to the NBA to be prepared for every single thing that comes out of their mouth to be misconstrued, to be misquoted, to be flipped into something that is not? I imagine myself under pressure in a public speaking environments. There's things that I know like the back of my hand. And they don't ask me a question. I'm like, why am I blanking out right now? I'm supposed to be the specialist in this. But then you get me in a studio, in my environment, I never have any doubts about what I'm capable of doing. I feel like that's kind of the equivalence of what he does at a professional level, in that he never has any doubts about how the game plays out. He eats and sleeps this, but I wonder how much he's leaving for mother sliders is my question.
I don't know. I don't know.
He's missing something. He's missing on that liar slider. He can't tell the truth. His truth meter is just down here.
It's a liar.
Let me say
it's not lying.
Let me ask about Toure voice. Is it lying, or is he just not recalling all the details?
Wow. Toure voice.
Toure voice.
Lying. I'm telling you, I've been consuming your content a lot lately, especially because I'm not keeping up with the Diddy trial. I just keep up whenever you post something new. So
this is what he posts. That's how you got to keep up. But anyways, let's move on. I see the chat asking us to move on a little bit, so we could go on to some stuff. There's a few things we want to talk about. We got Wayne coming supposedly this weekend. We got this LA rappers list, and we got an LA rapper or a Cali rapper with us. So I'm interested in what you think about that. But you know how we feel about lists in general. The Mass Appeal whole albums that they're about to drop. But what I want to start with is the song that I've been listening to this entire weekend, that CLiPSE joint.
Yeah.
That Ace Trumpets. I am a CLiPSE fan. I'm from Virginia, right? So CLiPSE was everything when they came out with Grindin', and we were just loving that. But this CLiPSE track, next level. It feels like they didn't miss a step. And I don't know how you do, there are very few elder statesman rappers that still come in and feel fresh, and the CLiPSE and Pusha is one of the rappers.
Yeah, it doesn't feel old. It doesn't feel dated. The song is dope as shit. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And it could work. And that's why
because I like artists to develop. Despite Kanye's being a complete asshole, I do appreciate that he has developed and grown and changed. So, on the other end of the spectrum, I love the fuck out of Pusha. He does not grow. As far, maybe you see growth. I don't see growth. I think you keep doing the same shit, and I love it. And I'm like, stay right there, and I will always be there for you. And I'm like, why is it that I'm able to accept him? Like, I do the same shit, but I do it very well. When everybody else, I'm like, please grow.
I feel like it's different levels of or concepts of growth, because one thing about the CLiPSE and Pusha, their style is about futurism. It's about elegance. It's about taking things forward. So Hell Hath No Fury, it came out of nowhere. The production on that album and what they did on that album still holds up today as far as like it being so avant-garde. So they're about rapping on avant-garde. Grinding Beat is their first hit single. That beat for the rest of the eternity is going to be sound futuristic.
Hot. It's still hot. Yeah.
So we're talking about things that are timeless and feel ahead of their time, and they keep being on the cusp of it, right? And they're not huge artists. They're not multi-platinum artists. They really are like the rappers fans and like luxury coke rap, right? That's like they've created their own niche. You know what I'm saying? Luxury coke rap. That's what it is.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
To that point, it's the same thing I do when I'm thinking about a Martin Scorsese. I'm coming to you for a certain type of film. I don't want to see you make a coming of age movie of two lovers, teenage lovers who yada yada yada. I'm not looking for that from you, right? That's reserved for somebody else. If you make gangster flicks, you show me the evolution through the quality of the movies, maybe the quality of the actors that you're now involved with, maybe the sonics, like the sonic choices that the CLiPSE are using. I also have a question, and I guess it's kind of a theory at the same time, is that if the CLiPSE, and I agree with you, King Green, they've always been ahead of their time sonically, right? Even how they write is still ahead of a lot of folks in the way that they write. If you're already ahead of your time, do you want to evolve in that way? Do you want to continue to be 20 years, 40 years, 60 years ahead of time while you still have a job here in the present moment to keep people and latch them in? I'll be honest, when I was younger, listening to songs like Mr. Me Too, I knew why I liked it as a hip hop head. But seeing folks that I know didn't have that level of depth in their thinking, didn't care about lyrics, see them gravitate to these CLiPSE songs, always fascinating to me.
There's a political concept that speaks to what you're talking about that Obama used to talk about all the time, about you don't want to get too far out in front of your skis. You cannot lead the people too much, right? The artists, politicians, same thing. They want to lead the people. But if you're too progressive, it's frightening to the people. So you're right. They're like, we're futuristic and we're just ahead of the audience. If we go too far ahead of the audience, we will lose them, right? So that's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah. That's to be on the cusp, right? That's to make an impact. That whole concept of being just on the cusp, not too far ahead, that's how you make a mass appeal thing, right? You don't want to look too far and you can't copy somebody else. So that's how something blows. How you change people, how you change my brain and change art is just doing whatever the hell comes to you. And that's what they do. We're going to do our own shit. And they've literally created these pockets of underground hip hop that exist now, So that whole space of being able to come in here with that luxury coke rap, that doesn't hit Griselda doesn't hit the same without the CLiPSE existing.
Sure.
That's something that people need to understand. Sure. So that whole space hit it. Boldy James, all of them, they're in that lane when it comes to the lyrics, maybe not so much the sound, but even how you look at beats.
There's maybe also a thing too of like, for some artists, it's about the material. And if they put out great material, then we will love them. And for some artists, it's about who you are. And when you're putting yourself out through your art and the audience wants it, and it's like Pusha wants to bring me into his luxury coke rap world where I can imagine myself as a drug dealer and having that kind of arrogance and that kind of swagger, like that's fun. Like you're giving me the person I want to hang out with, I want to admire, I want to look up to, whatever, I want to be in conversation with. So, I mean, it's like for someone like him, like as a unique individual, it's like beyond your material. I am curious about what you have to say at this moment.
Yeah, and I feel like okay, go ahead. Real quick, I was gonna say I think that's part of the evolution that I'm seeing is at one point in time you got stories that, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but I feel like they painted pictures that probably had a lot more fiction than they were nonfiction, right? For the sake of entertainment, in the same way that a director, even doing a biopic, is going to bend some of the details so that
doing a what? A director doing a what?
A director doing a biopic?
A what? A what?
Biopic? Biopic?
Oh. Biopic.
Biopic. Okay, you know what I was getting at. All right. Your Knicks get dropped one time. I can't mess up one word. Anyway, for a biopic, thank you very much for the correction. For a biopic.
No, I think people say it both ways.
People say it both ways. You're not wrong. It's just that we both don't like biopic. It's like, just say biopic.
So
I'm not correcting. I'm just hating.
For this example, for this biopic, excuse me, this biopic.
I feel like you're going to operate on me.
No.
He needs a biopic. His heart is not working. He needs a biopic doctor stat.
My point is this. I think that we bend the rules creatively to give the best presentation for a story, the best presentation for an audience. And I feel like they did the same thing. I think part of the evolution I'm seeing with CLiPSE and now No Malice is that they kind of have to speak to the things that are more proximity wise closer to where they're at in their career. Like, how do you go through a whole project and not explain No Malice going into Christian rap? Like, how does that play into it? Where are you at in life right now? So I'm looking forward to the full project because I'm like, there's certain things now that this audience is asking for more stories about Pusha T. How was it like being a solo artist? Did you miss your brother? How was it seeing him close by? Have things changed? I think these are dynamics. He's finding a really good way of painting pictures and then bringing it back into reality too.
And the way that he came back, yellow diamonds look like PP. That's the greatest opening line I've heard. It's so long. Yeah. And it's just fun. And I agree with you. I want to know all those things. And I was wondering, how's Malice gonna rap on this when you still Christian, right? And there's no curse. There's no cursing in that verse, but he's still talking that stuff and talking about what things used to be like. He didn't curse at all. And he's talking about that stuff. And then them having that rhyme pattern where it ends with the E sound for Pusha, then it ends with the A sound, PP, Fiji or whatever like that. And then Pusha has the Mahatma, the Lady Gaga. Oh my God, the Mahatma bar is crazy.
Who you think had a better verse on that one?
Malice destroyed Pusha on that.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. I was surprised at myself when I was like, yo, did Malice
and Pusha usually edges. But I bet you Pusha was just happy as fuck his brother was on there going crazy.
Yeah.
Because like they're the greatest duo ever for me. My favorite rap duo of all time.
Because it's just your favorite duo?
Favorite rap duo of all time. For me. King Green. Favorite rap duo. Hell Hath No Fury. I used to listen to that thing for like 6 months straight every day. And it was
6 months straight every day.
Every day. 6 months straight.
Every day.
I love how you
every day.
Backwards limitations. I listened to it every day. Well, for 6 months I did.
6 months straight.
No, I said 6 months. We do it every day.
No Malice was No Malice was crazy on that thing, and I'm just happy that they back. I'm more hyped for the CLiPSE than the Wayne project. But I'm still happy that Wayne's coming out because I know he's gonna hit some bars that blow my mind anyways. But I don't know. How you feel about Wayne, Curtis?
You want to go to Toure first?
Why you gonna hate on Wayne?
First of all, I would never hate on any of these creative individuals, but that first single that I heard, I'll pass.
I didn't hear the single.
I didn't hear a single. What was the single?
Well, the auto-tuned out song, I don't remember the name of it because it dropped at the same time that Ace Trumpets dropped, and I was like, okay, well let me get a taste of what's going on here. And then I heard the song. The song is just, it sounds like 2009 Wayne. Manny Fresh produced it, which that's dope to see them coming together again.
That's fine.
He's auto-tuned it out, and I was like, man, that to me, this is where him being so to himself starts to hinder his sound. And I've never really noticed it until now how much it's hindering the sound. I heard that song and I was like, yeah.
Wait, what's the song? I don't see it.
How many times have we ever said that? What's the Wayne song we're talking about?
Well, I know.
I actually haven't listened to it anyways, but I feel like it's him. It's the Carter series, right? He's got to have singles. He does his single thing, but then I want to see what's on the album.
It's called No More.
If he rapping.
I mean, this is one of the most funny rapping, just freaking geniuses that I have just been in love with for so long. Before he went to prison, he had a run of like 2 years through like 2 Carters and like 3 mixtapes and also like multiple features where it was like he's just unconscious. Everything he says is hot shit. There was what was that song where he did the chorus, and the chorus is something about clocks and time, and the chorus was the illest shit, and I couldn't even hear the verses. And and the song was everywhere, and I'm just listening to the chorus, and the rest of the shit. I'm like, guys, stop! Can I just get a mix with just the chorus on it? The thing was so hot, it was unbelievable. That was when he was like, you know, Wheezy F baby, please say the baby, and like all that, and like he's so dope. I mean, like just talk about a lyricist, and to like get into the words and the little things that he does in the words. He is so brilliant. It is, and like we are still. If you said to argue him top 5 or 6 all time, people will be like, whoa. But he's got a lot of shit.
Capability wise,
level.
Yeah.
You're not getting better than Lil Wayne. If you're talking about capability wise, discography wise, that's where you're going to have a problem, right? And then the issue.
What do you mean discography wise? I'm counting
when you talk about
all the mixtapes. Now
doesn't matter. Discography wise, if you pair up Wayne with the other people who are goated within his talent level and skill level, because there's only like 5 of them because he's that great.
Sure.
They beat him out when you talk about albums, impact, discography.
You're talking about studio.
Everything. Pair them all together.
Including mixtapes?
Anything you get to.
Wait, hold on. We should include mixtapes. And if we are, Wayne got a truckload. He got a ton.
Just because you have a bunch of them doesn't mean they are comparative to, let's say, put Kendrick and Wayne in the same space. Because Kendrick's on top right now. He's in the GOAT debate, right? Kendrick's anything he's ever put out washes what Wayne's put out.
Hold on. We agree. I don't know where Curtis is, but we agree Kendrick won all time.
What'd you say?
Does Curtis do you have Kendrick number 1 all time now?
Absolutely. I have without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay. So we all agree with that. And I have Jay-Z number 2 all time.
What about you, Curtis?
That makes sense. I don't debate. That's the thing about the list. We know they're already going to be, you know, our preferences mixed in the midst of that. But I have no debates for Jay-Z being number 1 or 2 for someone.
Let's say Kendrick, Jay, Nas, 1, 2, 3. You could flip it around if you said Nas, Jay, Kendrick. I wouldn't argue with you, etc. Right? Put those 3 separate.
You could put
now after that. Too. Who else are we talking about that Wayne can't compete with?
Discography wise?
I mean, Green, there's many parts of this conversation about it's not just discography. There's like
let me just set this. I just set the tone for a specific conversation about his discography is where his Achilles heel is his discography. As far as who he is, what his influence is, and he is Wayne, he could be the GOAT. If you have him as number 1, I'm not gonna argue with Wayne being number 1. He could be the GOAT. I'm just saying that when I look at all his albums and his production and his artwork, it's lacking substance in comparison to people who are as talented as him, who's as goated.
Like who are you saying?
Kendrick, Jay-Z,
Nas.
We
said them 3 aside, because I said he's 5, 6.
Well,
so
we're talking top 5.
But he's not competing. He can't. To me, he can't be top 3. But after that, let's compete. After that,
Biggie, Pac, Jay-Z, Nas, Kendrick, Eminem.
Eminem.
6 people.
Ugh.
Eminem.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Way too high.
Big no, that one, huh?
You said Big Pac, and we.
I'm talking about people
Eminem.
at his skill set.
You said Big Pac and who else?
Big Nas, Big Pac, Jay. Who else am I missing at that level?
Hold on. Big's catalog is obviously not washing Wayne's, so we don't even have to count that. Right? I mean, not even. He's probably made twice as much music as Pac, even though Pac was recording his every day.
We're not talking about amount. We're talking about amount. Biggie's music is forever music, and some of Lil Wayne's music doesn't age well at all. A lot of it doesn't age well. So let's be real here. There's 2 Lil Waynes. Hear this. There's 2 Lil Waynes. There's the goated MC that you cannot be better than him rapping, right? Technically amazing. Wordsmith, can come up with punchlines and lines that are crazy. Then there is the songwriter Lil Wayne. The songwriter Lil Wayne who made Lollipop and some of these hit songs and the hook that you were talking about in features is not as great as the MC Lil Wayne. That's what we need to recognize. The songwriter Lil Wayne is not as great as the MC Lil Wayne, and other people are better songwriters who are in that discussion. I'm not talking about people who are not in the elite top 5. I'm only talking about top 5, so I'm not disrespecting Lil Wayne. I'm talking about people at his pedigree.
Yeah.
Everyone in that pedigree writes better songs than him. It's my perspective.
It's an interesting distinction. Curtis, what do you think about that?
What specifically?
He's saying the songwriter Wayne is great, but not as great as the technical Wayne who we love, who I've been focusing on. And he's like, that's great, but the songwriter Wayne, right, Green? Like the songwriter Wayne is not comparative to Biggie, Pac, perhaps Cube as a songwriter.
I think we're going to see that in real time. The difference in that, my theory is that his songwriting capabilities, although he is obviously, he gets a lot of respect for all of the accolades and things that he's done. I wonder how much of that is a byproduct of him just being hot as lava during his period of time where he could literally drop anything, a song like Lollipop, and it's undeniable that's Wayne's back on it again. Like there's a lot of songs that I wonder if you place them here now, how well they would fare and how much we would look at them as great songwriting pieces versus us saying, damn, look at this lyricist, this artist that used to be a kid artist now evolving into this lyricist, and he's taking over the game, he's killing the features. I think you got to take the whole thing in full perspective. I think instead of separating songwriter and lyricist Wayne, we got to talk about pre-lean Wayne and after lean Wayne. Because 2 of those are completely different artists. But ironically, after lean after lean Wayne is what birthed, in my opinion, a Young Thug. Like this artist that fit that umbrella. I think that Young Thug, for whatever category people want to put him in, who are like hip hop purists that say that he's mumble rap or whatnot, I look at him and I'm like, he sounds like the era that we got of Wayne when he was like, I wouldn't care if you was a prostitute. He was doing that and he was hella leaned up. To me, that era has been evolved into what Young Thug is. It's like Young Thug took 70% of that and said, well, here's my spin on this. Here's my stories. Here's the thing that I would add. So I feel like it's part of the branch of that tree. But I separate Wayne into pre-lean and after lean because boy, oh boy, when the cup started getting heavier and heavier, you heard it be affected in the music.
There's definitely he's one of the greatest artists as far as communicating a personality that is compelling, is charismatic. I would want to hang out with Wayne. I mean, we all hung out with Wayne, but I just seeing him as an artist, I would want to hang out with him. I would want to go to war with him. I would want to party with him. He seems cool. He's always been on this skateboarder aesthetic for 20 years. I think he's 50.
He's been about that life.
He seems like he's 25. And he seems like he's been I'm just a rich artist and I just don't give a fuck for ever. And it's
somebody gave me this vision. I can't unsee it, especially when I see how aloof he is to everything going on. doesn't that give you the energy of a child actor?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
He's definitely giving child actor.
He's
Probably
been famous since he was a kid. Yeah.
Probably because he's so small.
Right.
No, but he's also been famous since he was a child.
He's
He got signed when he was like 12. And
Yeah.
then was going around with the most famous clique in New Orleans. So he already feels famous in the hood, and then actually gets famous during the Hot Boy era, and you're 15, 16, and then gets even more famous again. Like, I can't fault him for thinking like, I don't even know what's going on. Black? What does it mean to be black? I don't even know what being black is.
I can't shoot no bell on that. I can't shoot no bell.
Of course you can't let him sign. I'm joking. Of course you can't let him sign.
But I'm saying, like, my thing is, why are you so presently in my face with all of this promotion of music if you're presently in my face to tell me how much stuff you don't know about? Like, why are you back again? Are you back again to tell me how? Like, it's almost like the person who goes out of their way to tell you how much they don't care. But it's like,
yeah, I really don't care. I really don't care at all. I don't care. I really don't care.
Hey, Toure, I don't give a F about nothing. I'm gonna tell you right now.
But I'm just saying you shouldn't be looking at that guy for any real information. That's what I wouldn't be looking for this person to be a beacon of hope, information, political sensibility.
No.
So you can fault him for not having it. You can. I agree that you can fault him for not having it, but you definitely shouldn't be looking for it.
He's ignorant, and because he lives in a world of artists, he's flying above the clouds.
Wayne's World. Yeah, Wayne's World.
He's studios and planes and stages. He knows nothing of the world. Yes, Trump pardoned him or whatever the fuck, but like, he doesn't care. He doesn't know. He doesn't think about any of this shit. He's probably high as fuck all day long. Like, I don't care anything he says about politics. I don't need every artist I love to show up politically the same as me, right? You can't rep Trump, but like, if that's not your bag, then it's fine. Go make music. Don't say dumb shit and let the activists deal with that shit.
Fair enough. I just feel I feel like that is part of the DNA of every rap legend that we've seen in hip hop, is that even if they don't lean all the way into it, they make some kind of social commentary that shows, where their current mindset was in that period of time. I feel like, how do you bring somebody into a top 5 that can just be like, I don't care about nothing except for these 2 categories, sports and whatever else he's into?
I think that hip hop is implicitly political, right? Like anything that a black man, especially, or a black woman, especially, coming from the hood and becoming a figure in America and representing a black person, like there's something inherently political and revolutionary in that. That said, this is probably one of the least political eras in hip hop history. In the 80s, we talked about shit. We talked about AIDS. We mentioned Reagan. We talked about, what was going on in the hood. In the 90s, we talked about the war on drugs. We don't really do that anymore.
I don't know
well, the ones we hear it from are not the ones that are sitting in those positions. Also, they're not the ones that are getting signed.
Would you say Kendrick is political? This is obviously a rhetorical question, but Kendrick political. Do you think his last album was political?
Of course,
DMX.
Of course, it's political.
Not as political as he's been before, but it's more political than most other artists at that level.
I think that you can listen to a lot of hip hop now and not encounter an overt political message, where in the 80s and 90s that would have been harder.
I agree with you, but there was also less hip hop at that time. So I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But what I don't like, or reason why I'm fighting back on that, there's so much good music that's out. If you actually look for
good.
It. No, I'm talking about music. If you want to only hear political shit, there's niggas that just do that, and they have their own niche little audience, right? It's just that thing has been democratized so much. At a mainstream level, these things don't exist because it's hard to sell politics to What do you do? A bipartisan track? Like, how are you? It's a split.
Well,
it's
if you're
society,
hip hop is not out here trying to figure out how do I sell units to MAGAs.
You said hip hop is not trying to sell units to MAGAs. That's what. That's what you. Yeah, but I'm saying, what is the politics that you're?
You don't need to be bipartisan as a political hip hop figure, but the way that hip hop has always done it has not been. Chuck D aside, has not usually been like, I'm about politics. It's about, like Jay-Z. He's spitting his game, and then he mentions, somebody who got shot, Michael Griffith. You should pay attention to that. Okay, and then he's back to the plot. Kanye mentioned somebody, some political idea, and then he's back to the plot. So it's not you always like.
But the biggest, let me push back a little bit. Good. My whole thing is, the reason why I brought up Kendrick, the biggest rapper in the world right now, is one of the most political rappers ever. Yes, he's one of the most political rappers ever. Kendrick is one of the most.
Can I throw a wrinkle in there real quick? Because I know you guys are referring to American politics, but could we also call a segment of rap that talks about industry politics? Can that be political rap as well? Because if you want to break down just the terminology, there's been a change of regime over the last year because of the actions of GNX, because of the actions of that battle. I feel like that's kind of inherently political in itself. It's just not speaking about the things that we traditionally look at as falling under the category of politics, but that's industry politics. I see the way that these folks is operating, the way that they talking to the kids. I see Watch the Party Die feels like a political song, but it's more like a state of the culture than it is a state of the U.S.
Politics is public affairs of a country. Yes,
politics is. I think that's a great idea. I really like that concept. I hadn't thought about it that way. They are talking about their economic superiors, the people they work for. And quite often in hip hop, we're talking about that they are unfair. And the sharecropping nature of hip hop, right, which relates to what we've been dealing with as Black people. I mean, I think that is absolutely political in the way that, we're talking about, Industry Rule 4080, the different ways that people have talked about, fuck Def Jam, whatever, like, for sure. We're the only genre that does that. Hip rock and punk don't really do that at all.
Punk. Well, yeah. But heavily, I'm trying to say is, if you look at politics, just like you said, the word, to me, when I hear it, I think of it all encompassing. Public affairs of a country is politics, right? And government. These are or government. So if you're talking about the government, that's politics. But if you're talking about the public affairs of said country, that is politics. So Black politics, your community politics, your city, anything of that, talking about something greater than yourself is politics. So I see all of this as the same thing. It's just that people's perception of the world and country is very different nowadays, and people are very in tune with being part of categories and sections.
Instead of looking at it as politics, because there is no right wing in mainstream hip hop, right? Like there's no conservative. No, I mean mainstream hip hop, in terms of the hip hop that we care about, that actual, there's not like a left-right debate within hip hop, right?
Shoot, that's what Drake versus Kendrick turned into.
Yeah.
Well,
different manosphere shit.
Different axes than like liberal progressive, right? Like everybody within hip hop, generally, if you express ideas, you are generally expressing progressive or pro-Black revolutionary ideas, post Malcolm X, Black Panthers, right? All that sort of shit. So we've been talking about this in terms of politics, but we should think about it in terms of pro-Blackness. Who is the most overtly and specifically intellectually pro-Black? Not just Black is beautiful, but like understanding in a Panther, Malcolm X sort of way. These are the ways that we move forward as people. And that was Public Enemy, X-Clan, PRT, Poor Righteous Teachers. For sure, Kendrick is within that canon. I feel
like he's very pro-Black.
100%.
So it's gotta. What does pro-Black mean in 2025 though? That's the difference. Because pro-Black, pro-Black in its inception, when we're talking about, let's go all the way to Marcus Garvey, then moving forward, right? is different than pro-black today. And that's even a different perspective depending on who you're talking to. Like what it really means to be pro-black versus like in what you can do today versus just the idea that we want to move black people forward towards freedom and put black people first. Black people are a priority, and how do we get freedom? The meaning that other people outside of the community could be involved and allied, meaning that you put yourself and your people first. Now, what does that mean with your everyday life and your bars and you go into the club and who you're voting for? Everyone will change that pro-black thing differently. Someone will be like, you're not pro-black because you didn't vote for Trump. Someone might flip that concept in their head and be like, it's actually pro-black to vote for Trump or pro-black to be a capitalist. No, but they could flip that concept. And
but we don't have to give credence to retarded ideas. Like, no. The question that I would say is who out of today, beside Kendrick, because we agree he's the greatest, he's pro-black, he's political, all those things. Beside Kendrick, who is representing pro-blackness in a political way, not just in an aesthetic, I love my hair, I love my 4C curls, like not that. I mean, like talking about real political things, and it doesn't have to be your whole life like PE and PRT and X-Clan, but like just mix it into your shit. Like who's doing that?
Killer Mike?
Would you say J. Cole's doing that? Killer Mike, Toby Nwigwe?
Okay,
especially Toby. Yeah, Toby for sure.
Toby Nwigwe. Yeah. I'm just saying, if I really sit here, I feel like I name 25 artists that are like Toby, that are like J. Cole, that are like Kendrick. You know, I wouldn't put Jid in that place, but I would even put him there too. He's like adjacent, but he doesn't feel overtly the way that sometimes J. Cole and Kendrick can be, right? In topics. But I would even put him.
I would argue that that's now becoming a requirement of artists that are looking to rise to a certain level in terms of being elevated by the people. It's funny because I was watching a few years ago, they were talking about Gen Zers and how much they were requiring of corporations to the point where certain corporations have websites that tell the specific causes that their money goes towards, and that Gen Zers were going to that information first. I wonder how much of that is now being sort of filtered into the music, and that is like, what do you stand on things?
I don't think that's sort of, I see that conscious consumerism that you're talking about. My wife is all about that. I see it in my daughter. I don't know if I see that in hip hop. I would love to see it. I don't know.
I contrast it with this. How damaging is it when we figure out that somebody doesn't sit on the same side that we do? For instance, the controversy that Snoop got for just merely attending a Trump event.
Nelly, 50.
You see that backlash was real.
He's talking about it today. But it's Snoop canceled?
No, he's not canceled.
But I'm saying in terms of it being,
well, people look at him differently.
In terms of it affecting whether they'll consume the music from this artist anymore, I think it definitely has some effect. It has to on some level, unless it's just the internet being loud as it usually is, louder than reality.
You know what's harder to me is to find people who are not pro-black. When I think about it, if they only, when I mean that, I'm talking about if you're a trap artist coming off the 2017 to 2020 reign, right? That was the big trap moment, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about those guys don't give a damn about black, white, nothing. It's just money, drugs, whatever. But even in their lines, you would still get that perspective of like, yo, Cracker's trying to hold me back. But, you know, you still get a freaking line there.
Anything like that. Anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know anybody who isn't pro-black. Is what I'm thinking about.
Wayne. What does Wayne
said? Okay. Maybe Wayne. I might give you Wayne. And Doechii, let's pay respects to Doechii, too. As a black woman, she's out here.
Yeah, she's not.
Very much so.
Unapologetic for sure.
And I'll give her credit for also being open.
Dive deep into her lyrics.
As a gay woman, and pushing us to normalize that and accept her, right? And she doesn't even throw it in your face. She just like, this is a part of me, and like we love her for it. I think there was some folks were a little triggered when they started to figure it out when she did that little interview when she was like, "What's a red flag? A straight man?" And they were like, "Oh,
yeah."
But she didn't say that on the record. She said that on the internet.
Kanye. Kanye, that's anti-black. That's the first anti-black, right?
Now, Kanye, no. Hold on. Kanye has become 100% anti-black.
Well, not
right?
Kanye. Ye. No, because Kanye West is still the GOAT. Ye, that guy's anti.
Ye, 100%. But Kanye did say pro-black things from time to time. 100%. He said Jesus is black on his first big single. So second big single. So I mean, he threaded the messages in there occasionally.
He was very pro-black at one time. He said George Bush don't like black people at one point in time. But he was like, we thought that at one point in time.
Here's the issue I take with that, though, is that Ye's been doing everything he can to discredit whatever work that has been done before.
Oh,
and that he go flat out to the drink champs and say, man, I only wore them backpacks because I was just trying to find my way into the culture. And now that I'm in here and Talib Kweli and them co-sign me, I want to tell you how terrible that music is. Like, it's like, why are you doing this? There's no need to go tear that down. Like, you've established that era of your career, and it's somehow obviously contributed to where you're at today. To try to discredit that, it makes me question the same things I'm questioning about Wayne, right? The things that I thought made him so brilliant, and man, he's so observant of what's going on around him. Then he starts talking in these interviews about how unaware he is of everything, even in his field. I start to think, like, what things was I actually gravitating towards, and how much of them are sitting on solid foundation?
When I listen to Wayne, I feel like I am listening to his imagination, rather than, let's say, with Biggie, I feel like I'm listening to a reporter talk about things that happened to him, right? Or things that happened to somebody around him, right? Like Jay was like, I'm like, you're telling your stories, or you're telling bleak stories, or your next man. But like, I don't believe that these are imaginative people. I believe that Wayne is an entirely drugged out, imaginative person who does not really live in his body. He lives in his head. He's never talking about himself. He's talking about some imagined thing that he kind of came up with, which is fine. But it's like, you're disconnected from yourself.
I agree with that statement. I think just like the clips, how we said, like, this luxury coke rap, this is a Quentin Tarantino movie. This is him giving you this masterpiece film-like experience where you could dive into the mind of this person who's fully dived into this world.
Yeah,
we accept that and understand that. I don't see him as going home and cooking crack after he made this record. I see him as a person that comes from that space and created this entire world from coming from that space and having that criminal mind state, right? And then taking that and bringing it, applying turning into something positive. This music, this artwork, that's just like making a movie that's violent. Out of something
it's literally in his
name.
It's literally in his name. Pusha T, his real name, I just looked it up, is Terrence Thornton.
Terrence Thornton, yeah.
That's a different person. I have no idea. I've never met Terrence Thornton. Maybe I've seen glimpses of his creativity and who he is and his story in the music, but he's telling the story of Pusha T.
Pusha T.
Don't you tell me I'm getting ready to go see American Gangster, and then I go there and it's a movie about the history of Hillary Duff. That's not what I came here for
at all.
I'll tell you one little thing I know about Mr. Terrence Thornton, that every once in a while, the Black Girls Tennis Club comes to the tennis courts that I'm like part of, like it's my community, and they like take over 2 of the courts, and they have a really cute event that is promoting and encouraging Black women to play tennis. The person who founded and runs this is his wife. So that's part of what their family is about, like spreading tennis to like Black people, especially Black women.
That makes sense.
I know nothing of what Terrence or Pusha is actually part of that, but like that's his culture, that's his community, that's what his wife is all about. And I love it. It's a beautiful, fun event that I've been a part of. But I think a lot about when his music comes, because you're like, there's a character and he goes home in the Jaguar or whatever, and we don't cook up crack in the house. Like, we made records about the shit.
We don't do that in this house.
Yeah.
We don't smoke crack. But then you see all these TikTok videos of people listening to new Pusha music, and like they go to their friends, they're like, so I think I could make it selling cocaine.
Oh, I was selling coke all weekend. That's why I tell my girl when we put Pusha T in the car, we selling coke for the whole drive. Like it's coke and coke only. And it is completely fictitious. This is a world that's been built and it's perfectly fine. I hate people who want to attach a reality to every single piece of art that they listen to. Someone makes a song, just like you said. I liked what you said about Wayne. When I listen to Wayne, I'm listening to his imagination. I like the fact that you came up with Real G's moving silent like lasagna. That's just creatively fun. It blew my mind. That's freaking Dr. Seuss. Am I gonna challenge the Cat in the Hat and be like, yo, are there really green eggs in ham? Do you really serve green eggs in ham? No, this is a world that you build. It's writing, it's imagination.
When you say that line, Real G's move in silence like lasagna, I see a gigantic, like life-size piece of lasagna moving down the street without making a sound.
That's so stupid.
Can I throw this into the loop?
It's quiet food.
Can I throw this into the loop? Because I had this conversation with my community years ago. Isn't this more reason why there should be a nonfiction or fiction section or branding or labeling on certain music? So that we can stop taking this in a literal sense. If Pusha T just said, hey man, all fiction. I'm just painting pictures. I think straddling that line comes from the foundation of hip hop always being rooted in authenticity.
Yeah.
Right. This is my real speaking voice. This is my real story. I'm really from where I say I'm from. I've seen the things I've seen. Going over being on the border of that line, I think causes a lot of issues because it's not specifically declare. What I'm trying to say, they're not saying
it's not clear that it's fake.
We have to decipher through it, and it's like, oh, could this be? And it's like, it's not even your lifestyle.
So if we are saying Pusha's doing nonfiction, Jay-Z's doing nonfiction, who's doing fiction beside Nas? I mean, not fully Nas.
I think that makes no sense though. To be talking about fiction and nonfiction. That doesn't make any sense.
No. You know it's real. He said it's real that some people was really out there. And so Rick Ross is doing fiction. The biggest boss you've ever seen?
We don't know. Here's the thing, though.
There's an option not to brand it at all. I'm just saying, if you put that on the front of your label, you should never get sued for lyrics that's on that album because you already established.
I just want to know who else is in the fiction
all Pusha
category.
said was yellow diamonds look like pee-pee. Nigga, is that fake? Is that fiction? We don't.
I don't know.
Who else is doing fiction? Give me one more name. Who's doing fiction? Rick Ross is doing fiction.
I think every rapper does fiction to an extent.
I don't think so. I think Jay-Z.
I know so.
It's explaining what happened. Is there creative exaggeration? And we're telling you, yeah, for sure. But like
Drake. So we're going to Drake. Drake is the fiction. But Drake be talking about women and money. That's his life. What are we talking about?
Drake. All
He's
right.
also my mob ties.
Professor Green, please explain to me what is going on. Why you couched it with Pusha and CLiPSE got dropped from Def Jam because of Drake.
Oh yeah, let's actually talk about what I've titled this video. So I'm gonna have to label this so people who click on this later at the 58 mark. So I completely forgot about that. Yes, Drake's lawsuit is having actual real world music business impact. This is what the issue is. Kendrick is on the CLiPSE's new album on a song. I think it's called Chains and Whips, which we heard a glimpse of at the Louis Vuitton show that Pharrell had, and they were walking and they were playing the track. Shit was hot.
Yeah.
And Kendrick's supposed to be on there? That's crazy. I guess the last time Pusha T and Kendrick did something was Nostalgia, one of the greatest Kendrick verses of all time. So let's see what happens there. But anyways, Pusha says we have the album done. Last summer they wanted to drop it. Goes to Def Jam. Def Jam is a subsidiary of UMG. UMG is the parent company. We all know UMG is in a lawsuit with Drake and Drake's company. Pusha T says, Def Jam, we got this CLiPSE album. We're going to put it out. UMG says, "Hey, Def Jam, Kendrick's on there, and we don't like the optics of Kendrick and Pusha being on the same song because both those guys beat up on Drake, and that's gonna look bad in our lawsuit." That's basically what they said to them. They're like, "We don't want that. Make him change his verse, maybe, and then we can make it work." Pusha's like, "I ain't changing no verse. This is Kendrick Lamar. I'm not changing. I'm not gonna text Kendrick Lamar, yo, dog. Can you
rewrite these bars right here and these bars
right here, Mr. Kendrick Lamar?" No one's doing that. So Pusha's like, "Nah, we're not doing that." They said, "Well, we don't want to put out this CLiPSE album." CLiPSE is a lesser group in the entity of major record labels and music business. They said, "We don't want the CLiPSE album." Def Jam says that.
You're not saying lesser artistically. We love CLiPSE. It's a smaller economic part of UMG. That's all you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I love the CLiPSE. That, like I said, favorite rap duo for me. But yes, they're saying that CLiPSE, you're not that valuable and you don't have the leverage to push us to put out this album. And Pusha T says, "Okay, well, if you don't want to put out this CLiPSE album, then you could take me off too," because those are two different acts. People need to understand that just because your group's on there and your solo act, those are two different businesses and entities to labels, right? You could not have your group on one label and be on another label, or have them both on there. So they let them both go. But this was out of Pusha T's request from what I was reading, right? That Pusha T requested, like, if you're not putting out the CLiPSE album, let both of us go. So they dropped both of them. Pusha T does a great move, goes to Rock Nation, Jay-Z, like the inventor of coke rap. the inventor of coke rap. And so this is just luxury coke rap extravaganza right now. So they're over there with Rock Nation. That's crazy. Pusha T's on Rock Nation. But anyways, like he's on Rock Nation. Like the amount of rock bars we're going to get on this album is going to be amazing. But yeah, so that's what happened. Whereas now
he's take his album with him.
His albums, like his past ones.
They said they put music in pocket. They have that music to take with them.
Oh, the CLiPSE album, yeah, they took that. Yeah.
The CLiPSE album he keeps, and does he? But the other music was already on UMG. That's gone.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure they own that. Yeah, whatever they recorded in that time period, I believe that's what they're able to leave there with. I'm not sure they didn't disclose all the details of it.
But you know what's crazy? That fucking lawsuit shooks up UMG, and a whole business decision happens because of this lawsuit. It flips them and pushes it that way. That's crazy.
Can I express a theory that this is a little bit fishy to me, right? One, how easily, I don't know how many months it took for them negotiating with the lawyers to get off the label, but how easily they were like, okay, Pusha T and CLiPSE are gone.
Yeah.
But the next thing I was going to say is, if UMG is concerned about optics, and I'm not complaining of this because I love the Grand National show. That was one of the best shows I had been to.
Yeah.
Optics? I just saw him in the Bay Area. I saw Kendrick in the Bay Area, and people were gathering outside the stadium to sing along to Not Like Us.
Which is hilarious.
So the optics of the idea of UMG is
the label can't do anything about that.
Well, I'm just saying in terms of
but they're not his artists. The optics don't matter if that guy's not my artist and I just fired him and told him to take Kendrick off the song. Those optics don't really matter. I do agree with you that this is from Pusha's words in that article. I do agree with you that it's a little fishy. And it seems like, because I know for a fact Pusha had his own label that he was working with, trying to get a deal through Warner, right? Because when I was doing a deal at Warner, re-signing, he had a whole company that he was making over at Warner. So this was probably in the works, and I feel like this discussion helped him move things to the side. But him being part of Def Jam, good music, he probably didn't want to be over there because that's Kanye and them, and he don't fuck with Kanye.
Well, I'm gonna say the second part of that though that I wanted to say is that, okay, throw that out the conversation. The second part I wanted to say is that, could this be a play by UMG? Especially if the album by the CLiPSE does exactly what we think it's going to do, if it does very successful numbers, could they report that as a potential loss that Drake is actually costing them as opposed to them costing Drake and then saying, "Oh, I lost money, my reputation was ruined." Look what you did. We had to sever ties with a group that did really, really well.
Legendary coke rap artist.
And we're losing money here. But we're losing money. It's a drop in the bucket.
do we know of, or can we surmise any other ways that UMG may have compromised or whatever in the same way, like other artists, other situations who also got dropped or shelved or whatever because of all this?
Who knows?
No, nothing that I've heard. This is the first thing that I heard of, and it's in this GQ article.
No, you notice that?
What?
King? Artists?
Music's not dropping. You know that, like, people don't rap no more. Like, if you're part of like a big, because, well, here's what's really happening. A lot of these people are getting dropped from their labels and not telling their fan bases. A lot of these bigger artists are. I didn't want to put it out there, but a lot of these bigger artists got dropped from their labels and they're not telling their fan bases, and then they don't know what to do independently, so they're not getting busy. So it's not that the major labels are holding artists back. I just want to put that out there. These niggas got dropped and they're not telling their fan bases, and they're trying to figure out how to get it. You see these niggas starting to be streamers and shit like that. Y'all they're trying to figure it out. People are trying to figure it out.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying Jadakiss got dropped?
First of all, I don't think Jadakiss was playing the major label route for a while.
Okay, because he's the hottest new streamer that I'm thinking. Well, you say Joey Crack got fucking dropped?
I think these guys have real major label deals like that, but I wouldn't know. I don't think that they have those deals. So yeah, just that's what I'm trying to say. If you're not already, first of all, you have to build a fan base, be popping, now make a song popping, right? And now the label wants you, and they're gonna look at Chartmetric, the website I told you. They're gonna look at, this is industry standard. Chartmetric. Oh, his Instagram is on the rise. His TikToks, it has everything. It has everything you are data right there, and then they sign you because you're already making money. And if you're smart, you're gonna be like, "The fuck I need y'all for? I'm making money already." But
if you want to play that game too, just to add, if you want to play that game as an artist, wouldn't you want to not release new things that are going to hinder your ability to negotiate with the labels for a new deal? Like, if you've been dropped,
that too,
you probably don't want to be dropping music and they're like, what's going on with those numbers? It's looking kind of funky over there, because he's not going to have a lot of leverage going into that, as opposed to an artist who got dropped and just was quiet about it and been negotiating behind the scenes the whole time.
100% correct. That's a great point. What he's saying is, like, if I'm King Green and I just went platinum last year and now it's quiet for me, I had like a platinum song, and now it's quiet for me and nobody gives a damn about my platinum song that's 2 years old, I can still get a deal from Warner right now and get a bag. If I put out a song by myself and it does double plastic, they're like, "Nigga, you ain't getting no bread."
Hey, technically, the Boston Celtics didn't lose the championship this year because they didn't even make it. So they didn't lose. It's about how you spin it. It's about how you spin it.
It's about we didn't lose. We didn't lose. We didn't lose. How many finals appearances did we lose in? You see, we didn't get to the finals.
I don't even know where we are right now.
You got to
BTS. Where are we? Where are we?
We're talking about how there's a whole bunch of rappers out here that got dropped, trying to act like they didn't get dropped.
You want to name one? You keep saying it. You want to name one?
No, I ain't naming nobody.
Spell it. I think it's too many. I'll say it.
It's way too many. I think it's a lot of artists out here who are like, with that analogy in mind, they're saying, well, you can't say I flopped anything because the last thing you heard from me was did actually really well. So I think a lot of them are sitting here. And then I think also creatively, I think this is where Wayne is at. I just think that Wayne, for whatever reason, has to, like, he got to shoot his shots. I think that creatively, I think, not to take off the subject, but I think he's in a place where he's like, I've done so much. What can I say in this era, sonically, lyrically, when the demands are a bit different than what they were when I was thriving in my prime years? At least from an audience perspective.
I could see that, but he be saying he still comes up with crazy ass bars and these features, and it's like,
We talking about
talent.
We talking about that auto-tune song he just dropped. No more.
Oh no, because I agree with you that's the songwriting part that I'm talking about. I agree with you that as a songwriter, and you're like, oh, what's hot right now? Oh, I created this auto-tune thing. Let me go back to he created this little era, right? That the 2017 little era. That's gone. And that's why I don't think that shit really makes sense, because I feel like he's like, oh, let me go back to my songwriting tactics that got me popping. And you're right, where you're like, so many things was going well for him. So when Lollipop hits, it just makes sense for him.
Curtis,
I don't bump Lollipop right now.
Curtis, is Joey v TDE over?
Seems like
Is it over? Yeah, the apparently white flags went out, and for the better of both parties, they mutually agreed that it would cease and stop where it's at. I look a whole thou wow with you, even though I got relationships with a lot of them brothers over there. Like I briefly talked to Soul, connected him with somebody, and I don't ask any questions about that, because I'm like, the way that it's playing out, I'm just like, you know what? I would rather be a fan. I don't really want to know all the details, because the way that it unraveled at the end, I still felt like a very sloppy landing from the last day.
How did it unravel, sir?
What you mean? What you mean,
what
sir?
you talking about?
Just the things that we all saw in that.
I ain't see those things. What were they?
You see those things? The 3 songs that Daylight released that one day. One was which one was Ayo. Another one was the one with the chopped cheese on it, and then that's the same day that Joey Badass dropped Crash Dummy,
his West Coast one,
his West Coast one, and then out of nowhere, Daylight drops a tribute to Capital Steez. I think the way that it happened back and forth, it sounded like two people who were arguing with each other, but none of them were rebutting anything. It just kept dropping more songs, and at that point, I lose interest to a certain degree, because I'm like, what are we actually stacking? Like, what stats
up against each other?
Yeah, what stats are we actually measuring and following if they're both going in two different opposite directions? At least when you saw the Kendrick and the Drake situation, there was like, okay, that logically makes sense after Taylor made Euphoria. Okay, this logically makes sense as Family Matters into this. It was just,
and the other people dropped off.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying Kendrick and Drake were having a conversation, and this was like Joey said something, and then Ransom, and then Daylight, and then this, and it's like, so it wasn't really a conversation.
No, but that's the thing about people getting involved too, is that now we got side battles, and I think like a lot of folks have not, in my opinion, been given Ray Vaughn the respect that he should get. What he did in this battle.
We did on this channel.
I know you did, but I'm just saying in general. I noticed like that, and I feel like a lot of those people are OVO refugees.
OVO
refugees are ready in August when Joey Badass drops that album, and I hope you're ready to pay for his album and go to them shows. But it seems like a lot of folks were like, yo, if we couldn't get that W, a win's a win here. And it just seemed, some of it was disingenuous. I think a lot of it was genuine people from New York who were excited and happy to see somebody from where they're from killing it the way he did, and he did that. He was
all in all, it was hella positive for the audience, because for me, if I'm looking at myself, I am now waiting for Ray Vaughn's next project. I am now waiting for Joey Badass's next project.
Everybody left with something.
Both won. Y'all both won.
Did they not both win, Curtis? I mean, I think everybody's profile raised Joey's legacy, or how we think about him standing toe to toe with all these different guys.
I think that's good for everybody. I think that's good and you know what's also ironic, to take it back to the topic, I think this weakens Drake's lawsuit.
How?
Oh, for real?
How?
Here's another way to look at it, and shout out to Afro Butterfly, because she presented this to me in the chat, in that here you see an example of how rap battles traditionally go. Even when they go low, there's an opportunity for a white flag. Nobody's suing anybody. This is in the tradition of hip hop. For this to happen while this case is pending, I think that only adds to the evidence that UMG has of this is somebody acting like a spoiled brat. This happens all the time in battling. It just happened right now where 50 rappers, 63 rap songs came out of dissing and responding. Nobody got hurt. Nobody's suing their label. So what makes you feel like you're so special that you need to be the one to follow this through? That was a theory that I started to give thought to, because I'm like, I'm glad it happened now, because it shows you on some level, friendly fades can still go down between friends, and it can end in a way where everybody shakes hands and they go their separate ways.
Yeah, but I do. For me, when I'm just thinking about it, though, when I look at this, like I said, there's all winners, but I feel like the person that won the most is Joey, because he was by himself.
Yeah,
like it makes you.
I do have a question, because we do think that everybody's winners, but I have a vision of somebody at TDE saying, "Are you fucking kidding? All fucking 5 of you couldn't fucking take the guy out? Are you fucking kidding?" Like, really? It was 5 versus 1, and we couldn't destroy the guy? Are you?
That'd be hilarious. I mean, sit him all down. You can't fucking take Joey Badass.
I don't think it was a matter, but the thing about it is, one of the best lyricists of that pack just showed up at the end and gave his statement, right? Absol. Like, we still didn't hear from some of the best of the best. We didn't hear from Kendrick.
Well, he shouldn't have been. I don't think they should have been in it, though.
That's what I'm saying. I think the nature of the battle was determined beforehand. This is why I feel like it's 50 Cent's DNA all over this. It feels like 48 Laws of Power. If you use the song Ruler's Back to make a grand statement about an entire coast, no matter how you fare, people are going to look at you with empathy and say, you took on all them dudes. Look at what you did. Now, if you even get anything remotely close to a hit, they're going to say, you beat them all. When in reality, you can't beat them all if you don't address them all. And it didn't start off as that. It started off as you
could lose that battle. He could have easily lost this. If Rayvon comes back with that great track that he came back with the second time, the one that we all liked, that was a bop. If Joey came back and didn't hold his own at all, which is very possible, we would have been like, get that bullshit out of here, Joey. And now Rayvon is better than Joey Badass. Period. He could have lost.
But see, to that conversation, it went, and this is where I start to have questions because of how close the relationships are. You don't want anybody to leave here, like to that J. Cole point. You don't want to have anybody here leaving like actually bloodied up. You want somebody to be able to, if there was a way for those folks to amicably like separate this situation and say, here you are, Daylight, on the cusp of, I believe, working on a project. Here you are, Rayvon, after putting out an amazing project. Here you are, Joey Badass, getting ready to do a Essence run where you're showing you and your family on the cover, and you're getting ready to release an album. How do we get this to where everybody comes out of here with a W? Because the direction it was going in with the Diddy stuff getting mentioned and all that, I could imagine it getting to the point where there's things that you can't repair after that.
I agree with that. But that's why it ended.
That's where it stopped.
Does it end with a phone call between managers, a phone call between artists? Like,
I probably talked to Joey for real. They just did the cipher. Like, he probably talked to him before he dropped his track, but I don't know.
I would imagine that Joey is not socially in a position to say, let's have a truce, since he started it. So does it, but at the West, if one of TDE's like, let's have a truce, that seems weak. Like, how does that happen? How does a truce happen?
Yeah. I think because you probably have a conversation beforehand. And I'm not privy to any information, by the way. I'm just saying, I think a conversation is made beforehand. And when I look at this at a zoomed out point of view, not thinking about, Joey versus anybody or this, when I look at this, I say, this is an amazing way, if it was done intentionally, to first put a hyper focus on high level lyricism, because I was there for damn near every single drop. And 2, it contradicts what could be the future of hip hop battling in a mainstream sense, at the same time that a lawsuit is happening that could also affect the future of this and how labels move. They're already moving different, even with the whole UMG Def Jam situation. Like, if that is a possibility, I feel like those are wins. And then all of these artists are artists that are still have something that they're going to put on the table after this. So they all benefit
and something
from
to prove.
visibility.
Yeah.
But I will say, I do think the timing was interesting when you started seeing some of the randoms get involved. And then now you're starting to see some of it kind of like the content get into street politics. Yeah, you might have to go ahead and put a stop to that and slow that momentum down before it gets to a place.
Yeah,
because it's real. Because to my guy Glasses, he said this. He called in during one of my live streams. He was like, "I know everybody is enjoying the entertainment, but don't get it twisted. There's some LA dudes and there's some New York dudes who genuinely don't care for one another. Whether it's a New York head that's like every one of our rappers that go out there don't come back home, or whether it's an LA rapper feeling like every time I go out there, you don't show me my due respect as a lyricist." Whatever the case may be, there are always real people in real situations involved, no matter what friendly fade is being put on the center stage. So I do think that there's a dangerous game to be played to where it's like there's a real issue, East Coast, West Coast in the 90s. Do you really want to have that hashed out on the social media age? I'm not saying it got that deep. I'm saying that somebody of a cooler head that understood, okay, point proven. Everybody walked out of here unscathed. Let's keep it moving before it gets to a place where we can't.
It was smart. I agree that I feel like all of that was very smart, and whoever's canceled it at that time, it made sense because we were also, I think, gassed as an audience. Like you would have to notch it up to make us more interested, and once you notch it up, it would be something that probably was disrespectful. So
we talked about a great Daylight song that we loved. And then there was another one that we both were like,
it wasn't
pushing not putting aside the quality of the record. This seems to be pushing the temperature in a different direction, like in a wrong direction.
Yeah.
And now we're like, everything's been wax. And now like you're pushing us toward the street and like everything's been nice. Let's keep it nice. Let's keep it funky. Let's keep it barbecue and not have it get freaking glocky. Like, I mean, it's so, I wish that there would be more. Like you kind of note, like, okay, so is there kind of a wink thing at the beginning of like, all right, I'm gonna go with y'all and let's keep it, chill, but we go at each other. And I would like to see more of that somebody's going at somebody else and we know on the low, like we're going at each other, but I don't really hate you. We're doing a thing together. We're doing a work together. Like that's just great for hip hop.
The stakes are different though, right? And I can see why somebody for Joey Badass, who at 30 has done some phenomenal things throughout his 20s, like he has an acting career that he's doing really well in. You can mess with a lot of people's money, and whoever's investing into his career, or you can mess with a lot of money with the wrong song that takes off. We've seen, not like us. It's probably the worst case scenario of what that could look like. I imagine that if you say, like we know this is where battle rap goes. Like that's to me what I enjoy the most about watching battle rap leagues. That shit can happen, and they dap up. I talked about your baby mama. We dap each other after that. We go eat tacos after. In a mainstream sense, when you got people who are not even battle rap fans, but they're gossip fans, they're low hanging fruit fans. They're people who are digging up information that support some of the things that Daylight may be saying about Diddy and Joey Badass. Then it gets to a whole different level of risk. Yeah. My thing is, I wonder if the same thing that's happening in rap is the same thing that happened with the NBA All-Star game. Nobody wants to play and really get hurt. Nobody's looking anymore. They don't. This is my friend. No, I don't want to. I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to. I don't want to do anything that's going to possibly injure you or. I feel like that seems to be, it's a lot of buddy situation going on too.
That happened in the trap era because everyone dropped on everybody's record and people were getting money. It makes sense. That makes more sense. You unifying is going to make you more money and get everybody more money, right? When you separate things and you create claims like Kendrick did and separate things, it makes all the money funnel to one place. And that's exactly what it happened. It funneled to the West Coast and it goes there, just like 50 did. All the money went to 50. It's like if you ain't with 50 around the 50.
It went to UMG too. It went to UMG.
Oh, yeah.
That's the budget to UMG. That Drake's gonna pull from.
Where you a little bit budget.
Where you think your Sexy Songs for Men budget came from, huh?
Sexy Songs for Men.
Sexy Songs for Men budget came from not like us.
I said that so many times. I forgot that's not the name of the project. I did not listen to it. I'm sorry.
Well, I called it some shitty songs for you. So here we go.
some shitty songs for you.
I just said it for men's because that's all. I literally that's all I saw on the timeline.
When he was first really blowing up, and I saw all these critics were like creaming over him in publications. I'm like, y'all are fucking weird. And I was like, you know what? It's niggas who don't get girls who think he's the shit. Niggas who get girls are like, nah, you're not, nah.
The guys that go to Myron conferences.
Yep, fresh and fit. That go to the fresh and fit parties on the boat.
It's that manosphere, man. They found their soundtrack.
I don't even
need dancing to them them sassy ass synthesizers on Nokia. They was like, I got my Nokia. Like they was doing that. It wasn't the ladies. The ladies were like, do you have anything for me? Because you're talking about rap beef and a love song. What are you doing, Drake?
You're fucking stupid.
I got niggas trying to end me. This nigga will always sing about his beef in a song too. I remember hearing work. And I'm like, oh, it's Rihanna. I'm listening to it. And he comes in and he goes, I got niggas trying to end me. I was like, why are you singing that? Why is that a bar?
That's gonna remind you of like there's an avatar of a guy who he's with a baddie and all they can do is talk about all the people that's hating on him. And it's like you about to lose that baddie doing. You about to lose her because all you talk about is they hating on me because they see I'm riding.
Hating on me.
You remind me too, man. The All-Star Game used to be a beautiful thing. I looked forward to it every year. It was like the greatest pickup run in the country, in the world that year. And then then people like, I don't want to play defense. I don't want to get hurt. And the fucking shit became bullshit. It's terrible now. They can't even figure out how to fix it now.
And they pay them. They actually pay. Like when they weren't getting paid for it, you got better competition. Now they said, hey, come on. Like I know a lot of you gonna try to sit out and do some load management. We will pay you if you win. This could actually affect your standing. Like they tried everything they could to make it beneficial to them, and they still came there and said, let's throw some alley-oops from half court. Let's have a let me and Steph have a 3-point shooting contest, but from a half court. Why there's 10 other people?
I haven't watched that shit for a long time, man.
It's bad, man.
No, it's terrible. The games become terrible, and it's really sad. The opportunity to see all these guys play a game together, I imagine at some point, since the All-Star game has completely gone off the rails, they say, okay, let's put the W and the NBA together and like let them play a pickup game together, not against each other, but like integrated teams. And that would be massively exciting for a lot of people. Like people would tune into that shit.
Well, they did it with the 3-point contest.
No, I know, but I'm talking about a 5-on-5 run with Caitlin the Angel and fucking Ant and fucking Steph, whatever the fuck, like.
That could get messy, especially if Giannis dunk on Angel Reese. Like that can get real messy.
Niggas, we already said niggas ain't playing defense in the All-Star game, so you ain't gonna have the Angels not gonna be there to have Giannis stuffing in her face. And he understands. They understand. They get it. The players get it. Like as far as we don't want to be destroying these women physically, right? Like.
Well, not even that. Are they prepared to get their ankles broke and have that all over social media? That Caitlin Clark just broke you down on defense. Do you think these men can handle that?
I think, and that's a fantastic
He'll raise the profile, though.
I think they can because many of them understand their support for the W is like bigger than them. And it's like a social cause that they can really tangibly understand. And they respect them. Because they're like, well, she's a real hooper. She's not as physically strong as me, but she's a real fucking hooper.
Right.
But she really cares about the game. She really knows the game. Like you see them showing up to games and talking about the W in respectful ways. I'm sure they're told to do that, but I'm sure they don't need to be told to do that because they're like, well, I actually respect her. So if you, I mean, you tell them.
I think it would be fun, but I don't think that's heightening the All-Star game. I think people actually caring to win is what's going to hype the All-Star game.
Well, that would be the best thing.
What's the name of that game that they play in the Olympics? It's not even just Olympics, but it's like a basketball game where you play one-on-one versus somebody, and then when you get a basket, somebody else comes up. What is that called?
So you're going to change who's playing one-on-one? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I forgot what you call that, but the kids play that at the court all the time.
To me, that would be more interesting because it's like you have to play defense because it's just you and the other person.
Yeah, but that's just another game. You know, we're talking about the All-Star game. Because they have the celebrity game. Yeah, but they have the celebrity game. They got the little
King of the Court. That's what it's called.
It's inevitable.
King of the Court.
You got to put the women and the men on the court at the same time because they're ultimately trying to say they're two versions of the same thing. If you like,
I agree with that.
And if they do that, it elevates the women to people like, you know, even to a person like me, like, I mean, to see, you know, I mean, like I come from tennis. Women's tennis changed completely when G. King beat Bobby Riggs. And then Americans couldn't say that's not a real thing. And women's tennis is the most popular women's sport in the world by far. It's
a great sport. I like women's tennis better than men's tennis.
All right, slow down, nigga. Jesus Christ.
Facts. Yeah, I feel like the story and the narrative. What you got a problem with that? You got a problem just because you be playing tennis? You got a problem with that?
I watch Serena any day over anybody.
Who are the current women tennis players who you love watching, Green?
Serena Williams.
She's retired for many years.
I go watch the old highlights.
Naomi Osaka. What are you talking about?
Nigga, she lose in the first round. She's on her way out. She done.
So
if you don't watch,
I'm going with home team. I'm going with home team.
Anybody mention
what's my other girls? Golf, her too.
Okay, all right.
Coco,
you name one. You know one person in the WTA.
I named two.
Naomi Osaka is barely playing.
Barely playing and not playing are two different words. So what is she? Is she actually playing or is she not playing?
She's at the end of her career. She's losing in the first round now.
She can't keep up. I just said I enjoy. Anytime I watch women's tennis, it was Naomi Osaka and Coco. Before that, Serena. And then before that, Serena. I don't be watching Federer and all them niggas. I don't give a fuck. I be watching Osaka. I be watching Coco. Like, what we talking about?
All right. Well, you should watch if you like.
You want me to watch you play? I'll go over there in New York. We go to Fort Greene. I'll watch you play. He's like, you won't watch me play. He's like, you ain't gonna watch me play. Fuck you, nigga.
I don't even want to know. Don't come. You're not invited. You can't come.
You know, I'm gonna be there too. I'm gonna be there too. All right, let's go.
I came to your show, and that's how you're talking. Fuck you. You can't come.
Let's go.
No.
I said I'll come. I'll come.
No. If I see you in the park, I'm having to fucking Crips throw you out.
I'm going with Crips on standby. I'm going with you.
We gonna pull up.
We're gonna sit the whole time like this.
You suck.
Do this. No, do this right here.
It might be an off day that day.
Oh my god!
Chat says they all here for the tennis vlog. They want us to do a tennis vlog.
This is why men are lonely. This is why men are lonely because men can't have real friends. They just make fun of each other.
That's just love. That's just love. What are we talking about? It's all love out here.
It's 15 love. 20 love.
20 love. 20 love. 30 love.
20 love. 30 love. 40 love. That's all kind of love.
20 love. There's no 20 love. Oh my god.
Love. Yo,
random. I say this. I'm not trying to start a new topic, but random. I was watching ESPN2, or he was watching me, and I actually started getting into the dart championships. I was like, I never saw myself getting into that.
Darts.
I sat there. Darts? I sat there with. I'm pretty sure it's not called darts, but whatever it is, I sat there on ChatGPT. I said, "How does scoring work?" Basically, what happens is that I said, oh, "Okay." I was watching. It was the most unathletic.
The way that
kicking ass.
The way that some of these games get scored is crazy. It be not making no sense.
No.
Like they just be adding different things up. Like the way that rugby, how you count rugby, that shit's crazy. I can't follow rugby.
I have no idea what's happening.
It's like, how much do you get? Oh, you get 3 for that. Well, how come you just got 6? Well, you got 6 because he ran it in instead of throwing it and catching it.
They're all hugging, and then one guy runs out of the hug with the ball, and the others don't seem to know that he has left. And like, well, why are you guys hugging? Isn't the point the ball?
I'll raise you. I'll raise you.
All right, though.
I'll raise you. I thought the whole point of darts was just to hit the middle. I was like, why are these professionals continuously missing the middle? The hell is this thing?
What's the point? They got just the middle.
Well, there's specific points that they get, and they're trying to get like specific scores. One says 20. There's numbers all the way around, and they're hitting specific points so that they evenly get down to 0. I was like, oh, they got to do math in real time. I thought you were trying to hit.
That's crazy. Well, yeah,
math. I'm doing sports to not do math. Please leave me alone.
What are we doing? I was up here trying to count with him. I was like, what are we doing?
Freaking darts. But all right. Do we got anything else on the docket, or it seems like we
is Curtis up to date on Diddy? Is there any updates? Any questions you have about anything going on?
We don't care.
I'll just wait for the next post from you. Oh, do you want to talk about that LA rap list?
Yes.
Oh, we didn't say that. Let's do that.
One question before we get into the meat of the fucking list, because I believe Complex had Dr. Dre number 4, and I was like, that to me is the biggest fail. That's ridiculous. Dre doesn't write. He's a terrible flow, a terrible voice. He's a terrible rapper, amazing producer. So are we doing rap figures, or are we doing rapper as a rapper? He's horrible.
Mm-hmm. I already.
Are we talking about Complex list or Games list?
Complex first.
I already looked at Complex very crooked from them identifying a list of the top LA rappers, because I remember when Nipsey Hussle went at their head for calling him one of the biggest disappointments. In a list. Now, I know it's different writers. I know it's not the same person, but I look at your whole brand differently. When I remember y'all had a list of the most disappointing rappers and you put Nipsey Hussle on there, and now it seems like they playing cleanup with some of this list. My thing is, I think when we make lists, I know there's going to be a little bit of opinion. There's going to be a lot of opinion in there, a lot of preferences, right? That's a part of it. Yeah. I just wish that we had categories that we identified what we're judging these rappers by. Because if it's a matter of I like them better, well, I mean, then we're having a different conversation. If you say legitimately, like, how long do they have to stay in LA before they're an LA rapper?
Are you questioning the LA-ness of some of the people on the list?
I wouldn't question nobody LA-ness, first of all, but I'm saying I wonder if they're not including a Pac, or they're not including, certain folks.
I'm sorry, is Pac LA?
Well, Pac's, that's what I'm saying.
Live and die in LA.
No, but he was consider a California rapper, a Bay rapper, adopted Bay, but you got it. But I never thought he's not an LA rapper.
Live and die in LA. I look at his tenure with Death Row, although 9 months, I still look at that as a contribution that you cannot ignore.
For sure, but he's
from Baltimore. He's from New York.
Baltimore. He's barely spent time in New York. I mean, 9 months at the end of his life in LA. I'm like, he's a Bay Area guy. His particular story is complicated.
This is the transparency I'm talking about. That if you gave these particular, like these asterisks, we didn't include this because of this, it changes the list a whole lot. Because I know that Corrupt, right? Corrupt spent a lot of time on the East Coast before he came over here, and he found his success in LA. But it's like, to me, we got to go back to sports. To me, it's like, okay, he won LeBron's legacy. That's the perfect way. LeBron's legacy. Some people will look at his legacy with the Lakers as a failure because he didn't win a championship every single year. But he did win one championship. Do we negate that from the legacy of the Lakers and negate that from the legacy of LeBron?
It's a bubble ring. Fuck a bubble ring.
Yeah, that's a bubble ring.
That's a bubble ring. Bubble ring?
Because if the Knicks won a bubble ring, if the Knicks won a bubble ring, you'd have a banner right there in front of your books right now.
Because he's a piece of shit. He's a bandwagon shitty fan. Of course he would. He took down. He burned his Knicks jersey and Knicks hat that he was wearing the other day. He burned that shit already.
You'd have a button that every time you push it, you would unroll and roll up the Knicks banner. You mean this one, Curtis? The bubble championship? Yes, we floated that year.
Let me say something about the LA rapper thing.
Wait, hold on. The year after they won the bubble ring, what did they do?
They got rid of the most important pieces. Trying to upgrade. They downgraded. They got rid of another champ. He probably about to win another ring this year, and Caruso. That's part of the core.
Oh my God!
No, but the bubble ring doesn't count. The Heat were like the best team. That's who they went against LA that bubble ring time, right? The next year they were trash. That was circumstance. everybody was able to work with that circumstance differently. We're going through a pandemic. You guys start playing basketball. Some people's minds might be right. Some people's minds not be right. Some people didn't even play. Some teams didn't even so you can't. That's
I'm teasing you, but there's something weird about how y'all came up in the bubble to what Green is saying and have kind of sucked since then.
No. You know what? Revisionist history. Revision. Don't push your button yet. The Knicks didn't win in 2020. Here's revisionist history for you. The summer there was the smallest gap between the summer and when the season started again that the NBA had ever seen because they had to stay on track.
Nigga,
that led to injuries.
Nigga, LeBron don't take days off. He don't take no days off. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Recovery.
If the offseason
If this was the Knicks, you'd have been given so much bail right now. You give so much bail if this was the Knicks right now.
Look, let me tell you something. You too light to be talking about revisionist history because niggas gonna be like, I thought Malcolm's hair was bigger. Like, it's too much.
What?
I don't even know what the fuck that meant.
Malcolm Gladwell's whole fucking thing is revisionist. It's called revisionist history.
Malcolm Gladwell. I thought you meant Malcolm X. I didn't know what Malcolm you were talking about.
He's like, slow it down.
All the yellow Malcolms in the world.
There's a lot of Malcolms out there. Well, first of all, you can't say Malcolm Gladwell, just Malcolm. Just because you know him personally, you can't just say his name. If you say the word Malcolm, it means one Malcolm, nigga. You can't do that. He said, I thought you were talking about Malcolm. I don't give a fuck who that. Yeah.
That's how you know that's the homie. He was like, oh,
yeah. Malcolm said that. That's your boy.
Did you think Malcolm X? That's funny.
Revisionist history. Oh my god. You're a mess.
Back to LA rappers, because I want to say this about LA rappers. Because Game made his own list, right? And put Tupac at number 1. So he's coming from the same perspective that Curtis is coming from. And he is from LA. Game is LA, right? They didn't put Pac on the other list. Also, you have let me think.
Curtis, does Pac belong on the list?
Yes. LA like shit. Yeah.
Yes. Why? His contribution.
Because he only lived there. He didn't even live there for a year.
The same reason that Bill Walton's one of the top 100 players, even though he was injured the majority of his career. His contribution was his contribution. And it was legendary, but it was very small of a window. I look at that and I say, who has outdone what Pac did in those 9 months? From LA, outside of possibly Kendrick, who has outdone what
is Slick Rick a New York rapper?
Huh?
Is Slick Rick a New York rapper?
Yeah.
Wasn't he born overseas?
Well, yeah, but Pac specifically just lived in LA for such a short period of time. But you're judging him as an LA rapper based on the stuff he did in LA.
For LA too. For LA as well.
Toure, what would you say is Pac's best album?
I'm the wrong person to ask that question to, but probably All Eyes on Me.
All Eyes on Me, yeah.
That's when Pac signed with the LA Lakers. Just for lack of a better term. That's when he signed with the LA Lakers. He definitely didn't sign with the Clippers.
But one thing though we gotta say about people from Cali and LA specifically. Oh my God. When we talk you want to say territorial.
Oh boy.
If you're not born somewhere, they really will look at you like you're a foreigner. You could have moved. Yes, you could have moved into a place when you're 3 years old. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, he from Mississippi." It's like that nigga moved there when he was 3, and they'd be saying that nigga's from Mississippi the whole time. I think that shit is dumb, anyways. I feel like it's what you did in that place, like you said, signing to a team. That's me, because if I come to Virginia, I was born in Boston. I come to Virginia, and my first time I'm making music, I'm listening to Southern music, go-go, and shit that's around me, and you're gonna tell me I'm a Northeast artist? That makes no fucking sense. I like that Virginia bounce. I like Timberland beats and Pharrell beats.
So what do you think of Game's list? He's got Pac 1, Snoop 2, Cube 3.
I like Game's list. Honestly.
Kendrick 4 seems very low, and then he puts himself 5 ahead of Corrupt.
For LA, I mean, I like Tyler. I think Tyler is higher than I think Tyler should be where he is. He's Tyler's top 5 LA rappers for me.
Curtis, what do you think of this? He's got Tyler 14. He's got NiPSE 11. I mean, Game's opinion is valuable in and of itself, right? Like we can toss off complexes like y'all just trying to, but Game is, one of the great LA rappers of his era, not the greatest, but one of. And so
I like where he has Be Real. And...
his opinion is valuable in and of itself.
I like that he took the time to do this too. Like Game really is hip hop. Like I really enjoyed it. He took the time. And he did 100.
Well, that's so Game. I mean, like my favorite
bars
thing that he ever did was putting like 100 MCs on the Blood remix, on the One Blood remix. And I listened to that shit. I still listen to that shit. That fucking shit was hot.
Yeah, there was a point in time you couldn't tell me nothing about Game, especially in the 300 bars and running. Like you couldn't tell me nothing about Game. I was listening. I was all ears. I do draw issue with putting Blueface over Blue.
Oh,
But once again, this is where I think some clarity is needed. If he said small little blip, small little paragraph that said, I don't necessarily think the best rappers are the best rappers, right? Or the top rappers are the best rappers, let's just say.
Best MCs.
Best MCs. I think these are the folks that had, an impact that we're still, whatever it is, we're still experiencing today. I think that clarity would help us understand. But when I look at complex lists, it looks like they chat GPT'd a bunch of names and they said, all right, going around the table. What you got for what?
Wait, hold on. I want to piss off Green really quick. Do we respect Vince Staples as an MC?
Absolutely.
Of course. What are we talking about? How's that gonna piss off Green?
Do we respect Earl Sweatshirt as an MC?
Absolutely.
Yes. Top MCs. Yes.
Mad Lib.
As an MC?
All these people are on Game's list behind Childish Gambino.
What? Wait, Gambino's on that list?
Gambino is number 32.
That nigga's from Atlanta.
You is on the other foot now, Green. Hold on. Game respects Gambino. Why don't you?
Well,
how are you giving Gambino?
Wait. This is where we're gonna contradict ourselves, King Green.
What happened?
Say, if you sign with an LA team and you find your success, we get to
jealous. Okay.
He's not talking regional. He's like, fuck Gambino. You can't take him seriously at all. I'm like, I like the nigga.
Who says Gambino? I'm talking regional. I think Gambino's a great MC. He's a good writer.
You did not say that. Don't make me fucking go through the tapes.
We have video. We have video on it. I've never said that Gambino can't rap. That would be crazy.
Oh my God.
I think Gambino himself would be like, I'm not an LA rapper.
Yeah, that's why I would say that. I don't think he would claim that, but if you want to put that on him because he's lived there most of his career, that's the same thing like Tupac.
Is it fair for Gabe to put himself at 5?
I don't think he's top 5, but he's definitely top 10.
You don't think he's top? He's top.
Yeah, he's top 5. I'm tripping. Yo, my apologies to Game. When I think about it, my apologies to Game right now. He's definitely top 5.
You don't want him to come shoot you? What's the problem?
No, I'm talking about thinking. I don't give a fuck about that. I'm talking about when I think about his actual abilities plus what he's did. He held the coast down when nobody was there, and I'm having recency bias thinking about all these new West Coast rappers who are now lyrical, where he was being an MC when nobody was doing that shit. So I had to. I'm apologizing for his legacy because Game fucking is top 5 easily.
It was a dark period before he rose up.
Yeah,
there was a lot of folks who were like, okay, this is an evolution of not just gangster rap, but it's an evolution of what you expect from a West Coast artist in this era. And he told you all the people he studied. He told you the Eazy-E's. He told you the East Coast artists that he studied. He in himself in that time period was so necessary. And the impact is still something. I mean, Kendrick made a song as a on a B side of, I think it was on Good Kid, Bad City, where he said he used to be jealous of Aaron Afalo and the Game. He talks about
Aaron Afalo. Wait, hold on. You know him?
Yeah, I went to high school. I went to middle school with him.
You got his number?
I do not.
Because that nigga owed me $100.
I knew that was going somewhere that dope. I knew that was going.
He was at BET right after Shaq
that
left
nigga,
the Lakers.
That was a serious moment.
And I was talking mad shit because I knew he's a Laker fan. I was fucking with him. And we made $100 bet that Shaq would win a chip. I bet Shaq would win a chip before Kobe after they split. Of course, that happened. And I've been trying to find a nigga ever since.
I do not know of any of the events.
I don't want to be disrespectful about it because if if I say it the wrong way, you might trigger the wrong and niggas is like, you know what, fuck you, nigga. And I'm like, no, it's gay, it's fun. But we did make a bet. He do owe me $100.
All that I know is that in Curtis Middle School, where I met him, he used to dribble a tennis ball because of how dedicated he was. We knew he was going to be like, if not something major in college ball, we knew that he was going to make it to the league. He was just above everybody else, even in middle school. But in terms of the money that you are speaking of, I will see if I come in contact with him and I will bring it up in conversation.
I am 100% sure he will not recall any of this.
I ain't bringing up shit.
Yeah.
But no, he does seem like crazy. The kind of guy, like, he took basketball very seriously and he was good at that. He took rap seriously. He was good at that. And it sounded like he took the streets seriously and was good at that too.
Yeah. What he did opened up doors for Kendrick and a lot of other artists. And a lot of perspective was shifted because of Game and what he did in terms of do we go to gangster rap for lyricism when you're thinking about like it depends on how you define lyricism in terms of high level lyricists. Do you go to gangster rap for that? I think he upped the bar and the expectation, being from West Coast where there's already a expectation of what the sound is going to be. And he was doing features that were outside the norm. He was holding it down for the coast in a real way for a long time. I remember going to the Dub show out here and seeing just how magnetizing he was. Now, I think the most recent antics aside, he's going through a lot of things that have definitely changed the perception of his brand, and that recency bias kicks in, but it should never be debated, his impact. Without a doubt, his impact.
I think his first 5 minus, I would put Kendrick Lamar at 1, because if Kendrick Lamar is number 1 of all time, obviously he'd be number 1 in LA. Mm-hmm. I put Kendrick, Pac, Snoop, Cube, Game, then Tyler.
Ahead of Corrupt.
Corrupt's a better rapper, clearly. Corrupt is insane. So is Razcats. Like, Razcats needs to be respected. Like, we're talking MCs, but Tyler's achievements, his artistic ability, who he actually became as a creative, you have to put in there too, because we're thinking about all encompassing. If we're just talking MCing, this whole list gets thrown upside down. If we're talking MCing, there's some MCs that are, because there's some MCs at the 25 that are better than the, you know what I'm saying? But
he's thinking clearly about artistry,
everything.
Not just
value bars, to the coast too. Because if you're from LA, you're looking at it like, what did you do for this? What did you do for the culture of LA? Because if you're saying top LA rappers, LA must matter to you too in your artwork. I would say that.
It's crazy too, because Cube, I'm looking at the top 10. I'm not even taking Dr. Dre seriously. That's ridiculous. He can't even fucking rap. But Cube is so much older that he's a generation before Snoop Dogg. He's 3 generations before Kendrick. He's 1 or 2 generations before Tupac. And that his music is still so impactful and valuable and important to the people who really care, make LA what it is. And I still listen to that No Vaseline shit, that Death Certificate shit.
The world listens to Today Was a Good Day. My God. That's a classic. No genre that's a classic. Like, he went to the Dodger Stadium and played it for LA, and the entire Dodger Stadium is over here rocking with it, because that's every time till this day, when I land in LAX, I get my rental car, I put on Today Was a Good Day. So every single time. Oh,
that's so corny.
Every single time. And then I listen to CLiPSE. Yellow diamonds look like people.
I like drug dealing Cube better than Life is Getting Better Cube, but whatever.
Are we there yet, Q? You're not with the are we there yet, Q?
Are we there yet, Q?
Post Anaconda.
I'm like, let's get on. I like, let's go sell drugs in another town, Q. That's my fucking guy.
I think we got to be more specific with these lists, but being specific is going to make it less fun because if we talk about impact, we talking about impact. There's no way in Sam Hale that you have Draco the Ruler at 29. If we're talking to impact. Because the sounds that you are hearing coming out of a lot of
you're saying he should be higher. You're saying he should be higher. Oh, hell yeah.
If we're talking impact, if we're not talking about lyricists, I think he's still his own grade of lyricist, but we're talking about in terms of the sonic and the influence that he's had on sounds of the day, there's DNA of Draco the Ruler and Not Like Us.
You're saying that like that's not an apparent thing. For the people who don't know, you got to go listen to Draco the Ruler. The entire GNX album has Drake. Yeah, my bad, Draco. He said Draco, not Draco. The entire album, you can hear something, and all the other artists that we're talking about that are coming out from the West Coast. That entire thing has that essence, but
it's kind of the way we talk about Allen Iverson because he didn't win a ring. Because he didn't win a ring, they kind of like make it seem like his impact on the way that players dress, the way that they showed up to the games, the armbands that they wore, the things that he did, even with his shoe, like he influenced braids. What is it, the braids? He influenced so much of what the league looked like.
Stop playing with that mic.
For me, it's not straight. For me, MC8 is so much the face of LA, and not putting him above other people, but like when I hear that voice and the things he talks about, I'm like, that is a real LA nigga through and through.
Facts.
Do you agree? Punch said something on Twitter I saw where he was like, and I want to see if you guys, what you guys think of this. He was saying that he feels like artists like that should be on lists with different eras attached to them. Like there should be an era list of top 90s rappers. You can't put them on the same as the 2000s, on the same as the same thing that you wouldn't put Bob Cousy on the same list as
well, you can. No, but you can't. You can if that's the list. I feel like you can make a 90s list. But if you make a LA rappers list, I agree with you that what does that mean? Because the word LA matters the most in that list.
Right.
So that means LA must be the biggest part of you. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like to me. If you say the top LA rappers, because if you're saying the top MCs that happen to be from the West Coast, that's a different conversation. Because
the 80s, 90s, and then double O's and after are so different, because this culture and industry are really growing in those periods, and it's very difficult to compare an amazing 80s MC like Rakim, whose body of work is really thin compared to a normal 2000s MC or 2010s MC. But there's barely anybody who's doing anything as good as Rakim. But how do we measure that? He got 10 albums. He made 2.5, basically.
Especially when those 2.5 are still part of the DNA of rappers today.
Yeah. And I mean, just the things were slower. It is very difficult to compare
2.5 80s is wild, by the
to
way.
90s to like what happened after that. I see that.
What is 2.5 albums? What does that sound like?
That was wild. That's a wild statement. 2.5.
I mean, can I get 2 albums and a EP?
The EP. He dropped that EP.
Like half of the third album. Not even like.
He's like, he says, I only like 3 songs on that last joint.
There's a lot of skips. There's a lot of skips, but the songs that hit were really good.
Oh, shit. I loved 18th Letter, that one. And that was the first time I listened to a full Rakim record, and that's when he came back as like a grown man. Like 18th
It does seem like as much as Nipsey is loved, and he's behind Exhibit. He's
where in what
Nipsey's 11 on the games list, and it seems a little low.
He's 10 on the. Well, Nipsey. Okay, Nipsey's a tough one because Nipsey has. I feel like Nipsey got better with time, right? He got better and better as far as like impact as well. We're talking musically, we're talking about impact as well as him being able to make like records that have a larger appeal. So his best record album to me is his last album.
Okay.
That's actually his best album.
Okay.
Everything else seems like you're building up the standard of Nipsey and the character of Nipsey, and then he finally arrived with his first album, and he has nothing after that. So I could understand that him not to be too high, even though his LA-ness and his culture and his impact was crazy.
Well, if the conversation is still impact, if the conversation is focused on LA rap, and I think about artists that really sound like home, if I were to leave LA and go somewhere else, and I want to listen to an artist that really sounds like home, I think that's got to move you up further on the list, move you up higher up on the list. Even if your catalog, if we're not judging by just the quality of your catalog, I feel like for the basis of top LA rappers, you see the way that people showed up to his funeral, and the way that people are talking about him, so endearing about what he did in the LA. He's still his legacy. They just opened up a Marathon Burger at Venice Beach.
He was amazing. He was an amazing human being, amazing character, and just magnetic in general, right? You just listen to an interview. The guy was hella smart and very insightful. So I see that, but so I don't know what is the LA rapper tag on it. Because also too, just because you make this LA sound that became a standard, did that make you more LA? If Tyler goes somewhere different, is he now not LA?
Well, no. Well, the thing about it with Tyler, I think that Tyler got embraced after his success became the cosign. I think at some point in time, he got treated the way that some folks got treated in LA circles, where if you lived in certain parts, like, oh, you're not really from the town. You live on the other side of the tracks. He kind of got treated like that creatively, and people didn't embrace a lot of the artists, a lot of the media didn't embrace him as a West Coast artist. I think once he saw this monumental success, and even when you saw him at the pop out, it was still a surprise to a lot of people that he was there on the pop out on a heavily dominated LA playlist of artists. But at the same time, it's like he's always done things locally. He's always made, he made his own style of music, but he was shooting these videos out here in these streets. So I think that even the idea of what it means to be an LA rapper is evolving right before our eyes as well.
For sure. I think with Tyler, it's sort of a commentary on hip hop, right? Like his music is speaking about hip hop. It's like an ironic commentary about it. I mean, shit, you go back to the Odd Future shit. He's talking about his real life, but he's definitely doing fiction, right? Like he didn't kill anybody, but the music made it sound like he's a fucking serial killer. So there's a challenge to what does it mean to be an LA rapper? What does it mean to be a hip hop person at all? Like he challenges all these notions in the way he makes music, what he talks about, how he approaches it, his sexuality, like everything. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, I could see a challenge. I mean, LA rap in particular has been so tough and so real and so gritty, from Ice-T on through to fucking Kendrick. So Tyler is like the most Joker sort of curveball in the list for people like assessing the list.
Him being on the list in general to me is like, that shows you the evolution that is happening. Like him being on this period on an LA rapper list.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I
agree with that. It was definitely his success. But guys, it's
Love
time
this.
for me to get some food.
That's a conversation. Thank you so much.
Send me up an In-N-Out burger. How you DoorDash that shit? They ain't got that shit over here.
I'll wait till I find Aaron to follow, and then I'll see if I can. Like a 2-for-1, get you 100, and then I'll get you a burger. And then
give me a burger, get it.
Like, until that happens, I don't know if I can guarantee anything. Man.
Yo, tell Game you owe me 100.
I'm not telling Game nothing. It's funny how crazy people talk about the Game on the internet. Y'all ain't never seen him I went to a Hit Boy Memorial Day party years and years ago, and I realized, I was like, oh, that's how tall the Game is. That's what's up.
Yo, dog, I think he kind of ended punked on the low, right? Remember when he got punked? You see that, Green?
I didn't see that. What was that?
He went to this dude. Ashton Kutcher had him come to the studio in his like hot new car. And then they did something that made it like the car cannot leave the studio. Like something like we're constructing something by the exit now. And so you could leave, but the car can't leave. And he got really mad, and it looked like he was about to pull out the burner. And it's like, no, this is not even the show we're trying to do right now. Like, Shut the whole shit down. We're so sorry, Mr. Game. We did not realize where we were going, Mr. Game, or who we were talking to. When the white people start talking about Mr. Game.
Mr.
Game, but you play none of them. I get it.
We gotta do a react. We gotta do a react to that because I
would love to. That was one of the great. They fucking killed Justin Timberlake and he just take it crying. Game's like, I'm about to shoot somebody. Like, no. No. Not this. All right. Thank you so much.
We out of here. Let's wrap Latte.